So Farhad, good morning. Such a pleasure to sit here with you today.
Good morning.
We're here with Farhad Azizi, CEO of Azizi Developments in the UAE. Farhad, thank you again once again for being here with us.
Pleasure to be here.
So perhaps to get started, take us back a little bit into the history on how you and your family went on to develop Azizi Developments. That is one of the key real estate development companies in the UAE.
So Azizi Group is into three lines of businesses: real estate, banking, and trading. I personally look after the real estate segment, and the Azizi Development was established in 2007. But we've been in Dubai since 1996. My father first came here in 1994. Then he found a place, so wonderful and a good place to have family. So he brought the family here in 1996. I went to school here, and I've lived most of my life here in Dubai. And in 2007, the company was established, Azizi Developments. And since then, we've been doing developments throughout the UAE, and we're also looking at international markets. And we have developed thousands of homes, and there's hundreds of projects under development as I speak. There's another 100, actually 400 in the pipeline. So there's a lot going on.
Tell us a little bit more about the key projects that you have developed. What have been some of your main flagship projects so far?
So we started in Al Furjan. Al Furjan is a community just behind the Batuta Mall. And then on Palm Jumeirah, those projects are already delivered now. And we started a massive project in Maidan, the Riviera project, which has 74 buildings, around 16,000 units, which was divided into 4 phases. Phase 1, 2, 3 has been already delivered. Phase 4 is under construction at the moment. We have done projects in Jebel Ali. We have done projects in Sports City, Studio City. So a lot of projects are scattered throughout Dubai. Right now, 2 very interesting projects that we're working on is this very tall tower. It's going to be the second tallest building in the UAE on Sheikh Zayed Road. It's a hotel, residential, and retail on the ground floor, on the first 6th floor. So there's a vertical mall in it. And we're doing the Azizi Venice project. So it's called Azizi Venice. The reason it's called Venice is because it will look just like Venice, but with a lot more properties there, and villas and townhouses and buildings, with water being all around it. And this is next to the new airport, the Maktoum Airport.
Right.
So those are the 2 new projects that we recently launched. But throughout Dubai, as I said, there are other smaller projects. They're all buildings, properties. So compared to the tower and compared to Azizi Venice, they're a bit smaller. Yeah. But there are a lot of projects under construction at the moment.
And you're taking on these massive projects. You're talking about building the second tallest tower in the world, building lagoons and canals, basically in the desert, in what could be a difficult environment in which to do these kind of projects. How do you go about the difficultness of this type of projects? Building such a monstrous tower, building lagoons and rivers in the desert. Construction-wise, this might be quite an interesting challenge to face, right?
Yeah, construction and development business in itself is a very challenging business, because you require so many involvement of so many people and so many authorities and so many organizations. You need the banks, you need the authorities, you need customers to buy those properties, you need contractors, suppliers, the designers. So it takes a whole community to make a project happen. It's not a one-man show, and it requires so much organization, and a lot of this is done by the developer. So we as a developer have to be making sure the designs are appropriate. We have to do the market research to build things that are interesting to the client, and there is demand for it, and that are sensible as well. Getting all the permits and getting the financing prepared for it, and doing all the infrastructure work, especially like the Venice project is a very massive project. If you want to have the first person move into the property, you have to have the entire infrastructure prepared. Right. So without the streets, without the sewage system, the electrical system, you cannot really hand over even one unit to a customer. Right. So we do the entire thing there. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of work, obviously. But what's good about Dubai is that the facilities are available, the infrastructure is available, and we get a lot of help from the authorities here. They support businesses, not just developers, to function, to be having the right accessibility. There is less bureaucracy here. A lot of things are automated. So when I apply for a building permit, I know I will receive it in such amount of time.
Right.
If I compare Dubai to a lot of other major cities, things happen so smoothly here. The infrastructure is in place, but the thing that I really love about Dubai is that the infrastructure is very functional also. It's not just in place, it's very functional. So when you look at the scale of the project, you first get a bit worried. But then when you have all the facilities available, then it gets manageable. Yeah. But still, it is a lot of work. Yeah. Now that project is so different than the massive building that's coming up. That's a very tall building. Yeah. And it's an area that is quite sensitive. It's on Sheikh Zayed Road. Yeah. All the buildings are already built. There are hotels, there are residents, there's a lot of traffic, a lot of neighbors, right? So there's so much traffic as well. The metro line is built. You have to be super careful and when you're building something so big, it means you need concrete every day, you need steel, you need thousands of manpower to come into the property and live safely. You have cranes standing up. So calculating all of that, you need to have the right people in your team. So we've been doing a lot of headhunting, getting the right people who could do this, and literally we've been looking at people who were involved in building the Burj Khalifa and building the top 10 tallest building in the world, and those people are only a few. Correct. You could just, you have to locate them. It's not so easily found. So they're quite different. They're both challenging. Yeah. But then it's all doable if you have the right team with you.
And in line with this competition comment that you're saying, you have other sort of neighboring countries also pushing their own agenda. You have projects, mega projects or giga projects in Saudi with NEOM and others that still puts more pressure on the requirement of human capital for you to develop these kind of projects, right?
Well, we had a situation last year, especially, where a lot of talent was looking into opportunities in Saudi Arabia because there was massive projects. So talent from Dubai was showing interest, and some of our good colleagues also were tempted. Wanted to move there. Yeah. Some of them moved. Yeah. And then they came back very soon because Dubai is a very different place. The whole UAE, in Saudi Arabia, the projects were big, but in Dubai, what's so different is the leadership here. The mentality is different. The way things work is so different that they did not feel comfortable, even though they were offered double the package. Yeah. They came back to Dubai and wanted to take their jobs back, and that sort of made me proud of living in a city like this, where they came for a different reason. It was more of an emotional attachment to the city. Right. They liked the way the system was working here, the way the schools were working, or the way the whole work environment and the way things are set up in Dubai is so attractive that once you get comfortable with it,
it's difficult to change that.
It's difficult to go to a different environment and get comfortable there.
Now that we're talking quite a bit about Dubai, I mean, Dubai itself has been built on the notion of becoming this real estate hub from the earlies. During the 80s and 90s, I always relate to the development, for example, of Burj Al Arab that was built during the 90s, and that was such a sort of iconic and strong statement of the ruler of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, and the boldness of what Dubai represented, and that move, right, to build such a project. What do you think still, real estate means to the development of the country? What's the role that real estate plays in the UAE?
Well, you brought a good point. I was at the developer's office in Frankfurt in Germany. That's another place I do developments there. And I wanted to partner with them on this project. What was interesting is when I stepped into their office, I saw a big photo of Burj Al Arab. And then there was another big image of Burj Khalifa. And then there was another image of Palm Jumeirah. So I told them, what's up? Like, did you put this because I'm coming from Dubai? And they were like, no, we look at these projects and we get inspired. So we're talking about a big German developer.
That's incredible.
Who who have it was a company that was 120 years old.
Wow.
And we're in a country that has a history of thousands of years. They were inspired by projects in Dubai, where Dubai is a much newer city compared to Germany. They were inspired by Burj Al Arab and Burj Khalifa and the Palm, because these projects were done at such a fast pace and so good, and they're looking so magnificent.
Yeah.
So to put your business card internationally, and when the address is Dubai, you get a wow.
Yeah.
That is something that gives me goosebumps, because I'm developing. I'm living in a city which is considered so profoundly nice and dynamic by international places, like especially when it comes to an engineer telling me in Germany that wow. So yeah, Dubai, real estate is a big segment here. It is something that is. That has been so in 1994 when I came here. In 1996 there was a lot of construction happening, and there was a lot of development. Until today there is still development happening. There is always something new happening. It's one of the big industry here, and we're seeing more and more people wanting to come here and make Dubai their home. In the past we used to see a lot of investors buying properties, but today we see a lot of end users.
Correct.
They want to move their families here, they want to live here, and their first step is to either buy a home or rent a home, and then they start looking for their jobs and start looking for schools and all that. So it is a very big industry of the whole country, especially for Dubai, and we're very proud to be part of it.
Excellent. And there is this saying, right? I know part of your industry. It's build it and they will come, right? Where are we when it comes to the supply and demand sort of analysis of things? I remember, back in 2008 when the financial crisis came, there was some sort of an oversupply at that time, but we've seen the last 2, 3, 4 years perhaps a very important increase of demand in real estate. Where are we when it comes to the inside information of you developers, when it comes to what is being built? And if there were to be a sort of correction in the market, how could that affect things?
The reason I'm smiling is because we used to say this, build it and they'll come. But we've changed that phrase now. What we're saying is build it correctly in the right place, then they'll come.
So now it's changed. It's not just build and they'll come, it's build the right thing.
Yeah, build the right thing. There are cities being built, and there are shopping malls being built in China, for example, which are ghost cities.
Correct.
Billions of dollars have been spent, but they're completely empty. Nobody wanted to move there. Now, if the city and the leaders and the developers and the whole all the different organizations don't play their cards right, you can build anything, but it will not be occupied. So that's what makes Dubai quite different. There is a lot of coordination.
So there is an alignment between.
There is an alignment. That's absolutely important. It's not just build anything and people will come. But then if you have the perfect location, and everything is in place, but the developer builds something that is not good, it's still not going to work. The customers today have a lot of information. They have a very high expectation. If you do not deliver their property in the right shape, in the right sizes, with the right facilities, they're not going to be interested. So to zoom out first, the whole setup has to be good. From the city point of view, from the developer point of view, and then when you get a bit more detail, the developer has to do their job properly.
Absolutely.
So it takes the developer has to be experienced, the team has to be right, and the city has to provide those facilities to make a project successful. It's not just build it and they'll come. This is what I would say. It's absolutely a necessity with the world of technology and information. Your clients have information on their palm. On the spot, and they would know who is a good developer and who is not. Absolutely.
We recently had the world's top leaders descend into the UAE for the COP28. Sustainability is the big sort of topic being discussed. What is the role that sustainability plays within Azizi developments? How important or how much care do you take when it comes to sustainability in your own developments?
I was very happy to see that Dubai was hosting COP28. That's absolutely, amazing that our city was able to provide the infrastructure and the facility to make that happen. When it comes to sustainability, it's been on our table for a long time as a developer. But unfortunately, in the past, what I noticed, if the customer was not seeing their benefit, they were not giving it as much attention. So we were saying, look, we have everything that is more sustainable: the concrete, the paint, the way the plumbing is done, the insulation. But clients were like, okay, to them the price was important, and to them the payment plan was important, and the other facilities. But then in the recent years, what I've noticed is that if the customers understand, then the sustainability will be much more successful. Right. So when the customers see the benefit to themselves, when they see that their electricity bill will be a bit lower, when they see that their air conditioning bill will be lower, when they see that their property would last not 50 years but 100 years, then they are more interested. And I think for any developer or for any business, if they're in the business of building something sustainable, the clientele who will eventually live there has to play along. It cannot be the business only wanting to do something sustainable. And that was a very profound moment when I started speaking personally to the customers and told them, do you understand how this will benefit you? And then that's when they were like, yes, tell me more, because it was going to affect them directly, and they were seeing the benefit directly. So we as a developer were encouraged to spend more quality time on making the property sustainable, getting expertise from Germany who were giving us facilities and the new know-hows to make the properties more sustainable and more environmentally friendly. The other thing that is quite special in Dubai is that authorities here have put strict regulations to make the properties, the developers build something that is quite sustainable. So unlike a lot of other cities in the Middle East, I can proudly say that the Dubai municipality here and their requirements are so rigid.
Good.
You have to apply those. Then the developer has a little bit of freedom, and if the developer has customers who are interested in properties that are sustainable, then they will be automatically doing that. So we have had that change, and we have the client who wants properties to be sustainable. And the authorities have put regulations. So nowadays, a lot of new properties that are coming up are quite sustainable on international standards. Correct. So I could compare to projects in Europe or in France where the rules are quite strict. Dubai is not very far from those.
I see. Well, let's talk a little bit about you, Farhad, and sort of your leadership style when it comes to running this organization. You have hundreds, perhaps thousands of people under you in your organization. What's the typical day in the life of Farhad, and how do you go about your day to day? How do you inspire the people around you? How do you motivate them?
So as we speak, we're 8,200 staff within Azizi Developments alone. So it is a big organization, and the bigger the company gets, the more difficult it is to do any kind of direct management of people and work and all that. You have to have team members that can have the experience and the qualification to manage. And for me, the most important thing personally is never to do micromanagement.
I see.
I build a relationship with my team so that we can have that transparency between each other and be comfortable with each other, but I would not step in and micromanage their department for them. And that has made my life a bit easy, and that has given them a sense of responsibility and ownership. So the larger the company got, the more I stepped away from being deeply involved in the day-to-day activities. So I would be communicating with a core team on a daily basis, but I never questioned their judgment. I never questioned why they took that initiative or this initiatives. I know the intention was right. So if some mistakes were done, I don't bring it up. I tell them, okay, it was a learning curve, and we all learn from it. Let's not repeat it. That's my way of working. And on personal level, I spend a lot of time with family, sporting activities. I think in a job like development or any stressful job, one has to be mentally distressing themselves. Otherwise, it can become quite depressing if you bring work home.
Absolutely.
And you bring work on the weekend. So there has to be a slot where you say, okay, this is my time. I'm going to do my sporting activities. This is my family time, and this is my work time. If you do not structure it like that, and it's all mixed up, it can become quite stressful.
What are some of your personal KPIs that you're setting yourself? What are some of the goals? I mean, you are becoming the second generation of your family business. I was part of a similar journey, and I understand sort of the challenges, but also the possibilities and the opportunities that this bring. But what is in your mind of, you know, some of the objectives that you're setting yourself?
So my father established the Azizi Group in 1989, 35 years ago. And I've seen my father go through all the hardship of establishing the family business. And I'm his eldest son and his eldest child. So for me, I have vivid memories of him working so hard to make this happen. For me, one of the most important things is to make sure that the business that he has put so much work into improves and it goes to another level, and it provides good things to the family, to all our colleagues, and to whoever is investing with us, or to people who are buying properties from us, or in the banking business, people who have deposited with us, or the trading business. For all the businesses, the way I look at it is that this is something that the family has worked so hard on building the whole empire. I have to take it to another level and improve it.
Right.
And that is something I take very personal. So it's not anymore a job where I go in the morning and leave in the afternoon. Right. It's in my mind the whole time, and so because it's something personal, I make sure that we're able to take it to a level where we are able to potentially go public, potentially go international, and not just in the development business, but in the banking business, also in the trading business. And I'm getting involved in all the three lines of businesses we're into, and having a setup where we're a Dubai-based company, but that's gone global, that has projects and offices in Europe and North America, and that could expand and provide better services worldwide.
What are some of the things that you would say you've learned from your father as a businessman? What are some of the attributes that you're taking into your style of doing business?
Oh, a lot. I've been watching him, and I've taken a lot of things on. I followed his footsteps. One of the things that I really admire about him is that he doesn't easily give up. He has the courage to stand up again, despite all the difficulties. Like in 2008, there was a global crisis, and a lot of businesses and business individuals were not able to sustain the stress, and they raised their white flag. Okay, I can't do it. But I saw him under stress. However, the next morning he will wake up and say, no, we got to make this work. We will improve. We will have to do something, right? And that is something I really admire in him. And now I apply that not just at work. I apply that. I could be doing push-ups. And I say, okay, I cannot give up. I got to do a few more. I could be doing anything where my kids are being stressful, and I'm like, no, I cannot give up. I still have to keep my calm. So that the courage and having the resilience is not necessarily just at work. I've seen him doing that in any situation, and that's something that if I were to choose one thing, I mean, I've learned so much from him, but this is something that I think in the line of business, you're going to have a lot of difficulties. If you cannot be at the front and lead from the front, and then it's not going to really work if you just hide behind it. And and in difficult times, you got to be looking at things that, okay, I have so much on my shoulders. I have to be an example. I have to be staff number one. Then everybody else can follow the same pathway, and he always does that, and that's something I really appreciate in him.
Excellent. Well, this show is aired to a lot of startups and entrepreneurs that are starting their business. What would you say about the environment that is being sort of created in the UAE for the support of startups, entrepreneurs, and what would be some of the messages that you will put out to startups and entrepreneurs watching this show in terms of what is needed to really operate a successful business in the country?
Well, I've lived in America for 7 years. I've lived in Europe for about a couple of years, and most of it in Dubai. So I can, and I've had the pleasure of traveling a lot. So I compare a lot I compare cities to cities and businesses that could be established in the city, and how easy it is to establish, how little the bureaucracy is, or how easy it is to get financing, or how easy it is to, how safe it is, and how protected you are. So I don't want to sound like a cliche, but Dubai is a dream city when it comes to setting up your business. Because in Dubai, like we're a life example. We're originally from Afghanistan, and when the civil war broke there, we moved to Dubai. With my father not having any kind of financial backing or even speaking the language, he still speaks a broken English. He was able to establish the business in Dubai with very little help. He didn't have to be an Emirati. He didn't have to be with a family that gave him a lot of support and wealth. He started from scratch, and he was able to make it. He's a lawyer by education, but his law degree was not necessarily helping him here. So in Dubai, if you look across all the businesses here, you will see a lot of people who have started from scratch. So the city gives you that opportunity. The city and the leadership here, the setup, the infrastructure, would allow entrepreneurs to start things from scratch, whether it be a restaurant business or be a development business or a medical or anything. That is something that is quite profound in Dubai. If I compare Dubai to other major cities like Singapore and Paris or in New York, I think Dubai is so much, how would I put this? It's still quite easygoing. And there is less red tape. There is high standard requirements, but it doesn't make the entrepreneur's life difficult. They can establish their business and make something out of it. And 90% of the population in Dubai is expat. So you sort of feel mixed in. You don't have to be, you don't have to be the 90%, which is from one culture, one society, one language. You can come from anywhere. You can come from Australia or from Argentina or from Afghanistan, and you can set up your life here without feeling discriminated or without feeling that, oh, maybe I have to learn this or I have to learn that. That is one of those red tape that is not existing in Dubai, and I think so. A lot of entrepreneurs should definitely have that courage and take that first step to do something here.
Excellent. Well, Farhad, I'm reaching the end of this interview in terms of my questions. How optimistic are you about the future ahead for Dubai, for the country, and for Azizi developments going forward? The real estate sector, where do you see it in the next few years to come?
I'm very optimistic. I've seen a big change since the COVID. Dubai tackled it so well. And then with Expo, a lot of people that were new to Dubai, and they came and they probably went back home and packed their clothes and moved to Dubai. And then with the situation with the inflation and the situation in Europe has made Dubai a fabulous place to live and move your family here and live here. So I'm quite optimistic, and so this has not only affected positively the real estate. Every industry has seen the benefit, whether it's the airline or the hotel business or the restaurant business. So I'm quite optimistic, and we're seeing more and more people. And one of the things that gives me a lot of positivity is that when I look at the profile of the clients, there's a lot from Europe and their end users who are wanting to live in a city like this. They like the weather, they like the setup here, they like the safety and the schooling, the job opportunities. So I'm quite optimistic about Dubai, and when it comes to real estate, it's I wouldn't say build anything and people will come, but build the right thing. And put the right effort into it, build the right quality, deliver it on time, then you as a developer, you can be successful.
Excellent. Farhad Azizi, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you.